This is a video for parents. It is not for children, but it's also for grandparents, godparents, babysitters, teachers, anybody that is in charge of watching over the innocence of a child. So what we're going to talk about is what's happening in public libraries. Now, there are certain states, there are certain cities, you might expect it. Like, yeah, I can imagine those books being on the shelves in those areas. But this is a small town community in eastern Tennessee. It's Anderson County, and the town is Clinton. Now, we're going to go through interviews, we're going to go through an actual meeting, and we're going to talk about all of the, I shouldn't say all, we're going to talk about books that are on the shelves currently right now that kids have access to. Now, more importantly, there are people that are seeking public office. They're already a county commissioner. They've been on the library board, but now they're going to go for the county mayor. Now, it's very important. Elections have consequences. So depending on who wins, this is the information that they could be pushing onto our youth. If they're going to be grooming, they got to start early. But as a parent, as a respected leader in your community, these are the issues you need to worry about. Get in front of now before it takes hold in your community. Take a listen. So the truth between lines, my name is Brian. I'm sitting here with Nathan Mullins, who has a story to tell us. We're sitting here in Anderson County, which is in East Tennessee. So Nathan, thank you. And
Absolutely.
What you're telling me, what got me here is very, very interesting. So why don't you take it away? Tell me what's going on here.
So parents during COVID were very concerned because they were showing up the libraries all of a sudden. And they were going, well, what's the deal with these inappropriate materials being stuck on these shelves, you know? Turns out there were collegiate level lifestyle exploration materials people have called grooming books. And the grooming books were interjected, that's been proven, onto the shelves of second and third graders. The two librarians admitted it under cross-examination. It was under the auspices of influences of agency, basically through certain progressive churches out of Oak Ridge, of which certain librarians here are a member.
Mm-hmm, sure. Yeah. You call it what? Lifestyle what? What did you call it?
Well, it's a polite way of saying how to have intersectional or different types of sex amongst college kids, how to be experimental with your sex life in college. But these people took it upon themselves to put them on the kids' shelves.
Yeah. Are they cartoonish books, or they actually have real pictures?
That is that's the loophole they use. They basically hire an animator, and the animator basically shows manual form of how to do this and how to do this with positionality. If you're going to have different types of sex with different types of people.
Wow. I'm 48 years old, and you're using words that I'm like, I'm not comfortable just sitting here talking to you about positioning and intersexual and lifestyle enhancement or whatever.
Yes.
So you're saying that these books are on the children's menu, second and third graders you're talking about, kindergartens?
When we, on behalf of the parents in Anderson County, Tennessee, brought transparency to that issue, the librarians then had hatched a little temporary measure legally where they would, and of course it's not constitutional by any means, allow for certain families to opt out of their purveying these books. But the problem is, in that arrangement that we brought temporarily through the courthouse, which is not constitutional arrangement, they agreed that they would put the books to the side behind a special shelf. Which they
special shelf. Okay, I'm sorry, I just gotta slow down there. Yeah, there's a special shelf. Okay, go ahead.
They never did.
Yeah, well,
they just put them in the preteen section or the teen section or on the main shelf. So they don't subscribe to their own legal arrangements that they temporarily make, which are not legal.
Where are these books coming from? You mentioned who's bringing them here, but I mean, who's pushing this agenda?
Well, the American Library Association has federal protection. That is why it has been so difficult to push back for parents. I've been representing a group that wants to see boundaries put in. And of course, with the law already being on our side through obscenity law 93.01, you would think that the people in the uniparty or the establishment would want to help with that. but only moral majority politicians like myself are actually doing anything. They catch flack in the uniparty for making concessions, as they see it. They make the occasional concession to parents, which is totally, typical politics as usual.
Correct. I mean, it's like whack-a-mole at this point. I mean, you stop it in one place, school, library, it just pops up somewhere else. The kids are going to be able to get this if they actually try hard enough. And it sounds to me like the librarians are not necessarily not giving it out. So if you ask for it and you know where to look, you can easily access this stuff. Am I correct?
As you might expect, the political class around here got together and did some backslapping and handshaking and said, well, all right, let's compromise. And so they...
Just the word compromise, just about this. Okay, I'm sorry, yes.
The only reason that librarians agreed to hide some of these materials they were putting in the lobbies and at kids' level and kids' shelves was because there had been a private lawsuit brought that got dispelled. The only action that will cause any action is a lawsuit, unfortunately, because in the Democrat Party, they have no respect for current federal laws of any kind, be it immigration, be it abortion, be it whatever you point at. Unless there's a lawsuit, they will not comply.
Until they get caught, basically, is what you're saying.
And when they're caught, they do a backroom deal.
Yeah.
And so most of the politicians around here, except for conservatives like Terry Frank, have actually decided to waffle more often than not. And the books are still in here, still obscene, still offered to underage people, and everybody's just kind of wanting to go away because the newspaper will write a nasty byline on you.
Yeah, and actually the public will find out about it, and that's when all the turmoil happens. But you do it in secret, no one cares about it. So the Clinton Library behind us right now, that's the spot we can walk in there and actually find these books.
I was properly burdened. I chose the burden of making a recording of the library director here at this particular library, conspiring to get her books paid for by any means necessary by friends. And then because they also control the reconsideration process where parents are not allowed to talk, they can allow for one book to be reviewed as they're bringing in other books, which is also on the recording at the same time. And of course, the library board director here is working in conjunction with the Unitarian Church in Oak Ridge, the much more progressive community, and the umbrella organization PFlagg, who provide these books at a discount because of their agenda they're pushing.
That's a discount. Oh boy, so yeah, funding is not a problem, I'm sure, for this, because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there willing to pay and buy these books for whatever they want. Wow. Okay, we're gonna look at that and figure. I'll splice that into this video. Now, what do you say to people that were just like, oh, this is book burning? This is, people just trying to take this off the shelves, or they just don't like the content, so therefore they don't want it. What do you say to those people?
As a parent of 4, and when I go out on the campaign trail, because we have to get moral majority people into positions like myself, I tell parents straight up, whether they approve or not, I say, most of the books they claim we're book banning, I have no issue with.
Yeah.
Fahrenheit 451, Anne Frank, the book Mouse. A lot of these books that were contested in some other part of the country, the left and the newspapers generally say, well, this is what you're really trying to do. But we don't take issue with those books. We are age-appropriate access. We bring transparency to the people that are pushing that agenda.
Yeah.
And we are not book banners, because I have yet to hear a book that we were supposedly banning that I personally thought needed to be absolutely removed from the public library, because representational materials are constitutionally protected.
Sure. Go back to the actual books themselves. Now, you said these are, quote unquote, written for college-age kids. When I was in college, I don't remember any books. I don't remember anything that had to do with sexuality. I don't remember anything as far as that goes. I figured it out, when I got married. So let's go with that. But at the same time, I don't. Why are these even being written and talked about? And then I don't know. Do you have an answer for that? Maybe you don't have an answer for that.
The clear, boiled down answer is that socialists, under the philosophy of Marxism, cannot divide this country based on monetary class anymore. So they have to create division with these intersectional cultural arguments, like, are you protecting the gay people? Are you protecting that group? Are you protecting this group? Are you allowing them access? And we see it everywhere in media, where Hollywood is melting down.
Yes.
Because they keep pushing this woke mantra, and parents are trying to protect their children, but the politicians aren't helping.
Yeah. Yeah, in Hollywood too. I mean, they intersplice everything in there, where it's a small little scene, it's a nothing scene, and then they have, a lesbian couple or a homosexual couple, and then it's just, they don't talk about it, and then it gets progressively worse and worse, and added on top of that, until you realize it's right in your face and you can't get away from it, because or you're into this whole series of TV shows, movies, and you're watching them one after the first two are great, and then the third one they introduce a new character, and that character just happens to be that. Well, then it's like, do you turn it off at that point when you're so invested in the storyline? But you keep watching because, hey, and then in the back of your mind, kids, of course, are picking up on this, saying, it's not that bad, right? It's not that bad. Oh, look, there's another movie, another TV show, or there's another book, which is what we're talking about now, that they can get more information about.
Hollywood. Hollywood is a lost cause. They didn't learn their lesson. When Disney's stock tanked, now they're doing Starfleet Academy, where everybody's laughing because they are addicted to woke, and the only way to get a job in Hollywood is to be a woke spokesperson. Yeah. With a silly juvenile script, and parents have to shield their children. They are divesting of Disney. They're divesting of all these problematic houses of woke that are and if it weren't for alternative media, parents wouldn't have a leg to stand on anymore.
Right, agreed. Yeah, and then when sports start getting into it too, that's where, again, you watch movies, you watch sports to get away from real life, to get away from politics, to just enjoy yourself, have a good storyline, a laugh, or get scared, or whatever the genre is you're watching. But it's just in your face, like all the time, and you can't get away from it because they want to push this information out. I'm almost speechless. I am speechless because I'm just annoyed by it more than anything else, and that's where we're at. So, any other words to watch out for? What can parents do to fight back? Like, what's happening now in your world that you're doing, and what else can people do around the country and around the world?
It is a must now. If you want to have a voice left, you've got to turn to groups like AFP. You've got to turn to groups like Moms for Liberty. You've got to get involved, because parents can't have a voice simply because of issues like crossover voting and who's bona fide. The progressives will always come out and steal an advantage through 1/3 of liberal voters who will show up in conservative primaries and vote out chosen conservative representatives. As a progressive, they will interject, and then they will infiltrate other people who will push that woke agenda. So parents have got to show up. You've got to get back out to the school board meeting. The primaries are coming. You've got to get involved at in your library issues, and the agencies that are doing it, as I said, AFP, Moms for Liberty, you got to show up. You got to find them, and there is a chapter. So please come around.
I think a lot of the Democrats, the progressives, the liberals, they start for the long game. They start with the children. You go after that. They're not going after seniors and senior homes or law enforcement or anything. They're going after the kids. They're indoctrinating them, having them march around with signs and protests in their classrooms. And it's like, why are they protesting in their classroom or learning how to protest? They should be learning ABCs and English and how to math. And
you would think.
Yeah, that's what I remember doing. I don't know where it all turned. And there's plenty of videos. And I think COVID was a big deal with that too, where things went home. Like, you realize the schools went home, everybody was learning from there. The parents were looking over the shoulders of the kids on their laptop or whatever they're doing, going, wait a minute, That's not right.
Yeah.
That's weird. Why are you learning about that subject? So I think COVID had a big deal. Well, not necessarily to the amount of cameras that are out there as well, and
Yes.
you know how small they can be. So you can put one in the corner of a classroom, and it's still cost effective to learn what's going on. So I just think the transparency of it is turning the corner of what's happening in our classrooms with our youth. And that's kind of where we're at with this whole situation right now.
One of the other, if you've got time to do a podcast, you know, one of our brothers lately from East Tennessee has taken it up as a cause. His name is James Lindsay. He does hours and hours and hours. He's being called as the guru out of this area to many lofty places. He's been across the pond. He's been, you know, on a plane to, you know, the further reaches of Christendom. And he is trying to tell parents where this Marxism seeps into the long march through the institutions and how we're going to end up having to push back.
Yeah, we do got to push back. We do have to stand up. And we have to understand what's going on. That's the most important thing, probably with this video, with all the other things, is just understand what's being pushed onto our children, onto our, not even children, the college students at that point too. What's happening in society right now? Again, playing the long game to one day wake up and all of a sudden you got a Democrat, socialist, communist mayor in New York City. Of course, Seattle's already lost. There's so many different things happening around the country right now where it's agenda after agenda, different topic after different topic, but it's not American, nor is it constitutional, nor is it just morally correct.
Well, in Anderson County, the actual person in charge of the library board that took it upon themselves to break these laws is running as a Republican who, and everybody is kind of joking to themselves, when did this happen? And now claiming to be a Christian running against our mayor, our chosen representative here in Anderson County. And he was the guy in charge of interjecting all those woke ideas into our mayoral race. So, and as a parental advocate, I have had to take a stand and show people that when people claim, when they're running in our own elections, our Republican primaries, and everybody knows they're progressive, we want our rules tightened. And we're trying to get the people in Nashville to do that.
It's good information. That is amazing. So, like I said earlier, like Nathan said, get out, talk to your kids, number one, if you have them. If you don't have kids, just start understanding what's being in your society, what's being put there, what's in the libraries, and all around the information at the colleges, the universities, high schools, everywhere there are books, everywhere there are videos being shown. Take an interest in what's being shown to our society and to our own communities. So, anything else you want to add?
If it weren't for groups like AFP, Moms for Liberty, and people like yourself taking a stand, we wouldn't have a shot as parents. So we owe you one, and we want to see y'all help us choose our elected conservatives who are for real.
Very good. All right, Nathan, thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate it, and hope we got a little bit of details.
Absolutely.
And that's the truth between lines.
I appreciate it, man.
This is the audio that we're talking about. So this is someone who went to a meeting. This is a PFlagg meeting. Now understand what PFlagg means. This is what the definition of it. It's a nonprofit organization in the United States. PFlagg is an LGBTQ advocacy organization founded and led by friends and family of the LGBTQ people. PFlagg is a national organization presiding over decentralized local and regional chapters. PFlagg has over 360 chapters across the United States with more than 550,000 members and supporters. PFlagg was originally an acronym standing for Parents and Friends of Lesbian and Gays. So that's what it stands for. That's what PFlagg stands for. Now, there was a flyer that announced this meeting. So Monday, February 13th. And everyone is invited. Social, 6:45 p.m., meeting from 7 to 8. Again, everyone invited. This is at the Jewish congregation of Oak Ridge, located at Madison Lane in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. The subject, how do libraries choose books? So then the byline is efforts to ban books in schools and community libraries nationally in Tennessee and locally have recently been in the news. Librarians from 3 local libraries will discuss rules for choosing books, vetting books, and recent efforts by special interest groups to restrict certain books. Special interest groups. Interesting that they say that. All right, so this is the other thing too. The Oak Ridge chapter of PFlagg meets monthly, rotating the venue among local faith communities: First Presbyterian, First United Methodist, United Church, Chapel on the Hill, and Oak Ridge Unitarian Universalist churches, and the Jewish congregation of Oak Ridge. So this is the meeting that they had to come into and listen to. So here we go. Here's the video. It's about to start right about now.
Good evening. My name is John Bruzel. Welcome to PFlagg Oak Ridge for our February meeting. Glad to have you all here. This is Ann Backus, my co-chair. And we're here to talk about the issues of books in public libraries.
Sure.
But before we get into that, a couple of announcements. Because of personal issues here, there is no recording of anything that goes on here tonight, video or audio recording. Please respect that. Secondly, we always start.
Okay, now first right there, right off the bat, first thing he says, no recording. Why would you have a public meeting where everyone is invited to, and they tell you the first thing off the bat is you can't record? No audio or no video. Why? Why can't you do that? Are you trying to hide something? What's the penalty if someone takes an audio tape of this or videotapes it? What is the problem with that? Again, what are you trying to hide?
Meetings out with any news, good or bad, and I hate to be the person that has, well, good news. Good news. The Oak Ridger had an article about tonight's meeting. Isn't that nice?
There you go. Advertising in the newspaper, too, for that matter.
On the other side, if anybody was at the League of Women's Voters this past week, where we had somebody from the Pride Center come and talk about the issues of the state of hate bill at the State House here, and the number of them that are being processed through, and recommending that we prepare ourselves for the fact that all of those bills will be passed. You can pretty much expect party line votes.
Thank God for Tennessee.
And you can like to be a representative as you wish, etc. Give your comments. But he said, as he understands it from his lobbying work at the State House, you can expect all of these bills to pass. One of them is what's called a drag bill, and then
listen,
it's very vague about what it is, but they're essentially trying to make sure that nobody that is cross-dressing can be publicly visible to people under 18 years old.
13 years old.
But it's something like that.
Here's the important part.
But the way it's worded, it could be enforced much more broadly than that. It's probably going to be passed. I think I heard it passed the Senate yesterday or today. And then this came out in the News Sentinel that Knox Pride is probably going to have to cancel all of its Pride events if this bill passes.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? It's a little garbled at that moment, but Knox Pride, so the Knox County Pride organization group, whatever they want to call themselves, might have to cancel their event. Why would they do that? This is a bill for 13-year-olds and younger, that you can't expose yourself to 13-year-olds or younger. Why would Knox Pride be concerned about an event? I mean, assuming that they're for adults, not for children under the age of 13, but yet they could cancel the meeting or whatever you want to call it, the drag show, because of this bill.
So that will be a really big loss.
But stay tuned for a substitute activity.
Yeah.
Substitute activity.
And also, states where this bill has passed, it's being decided in courts. So it's probably not the final word that whatever happens at the State House.
So they're going to fight. You can expose yourself to 13-year-olds or
Let's
younger.
see.
Even 18 and younger.
Other good or bad news from anybody?
Well, I have a couple of good news. One is Chapel on the Hill is going to join us as one of our co-sponsors.
Chapel on the Hill in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. Yay, congratulations. You're going to join this.
Yes. You're the one. I was looking for name tags, so yes. Thank you for joining us. Well, I'm going to call a board meeting relatively.
Just so you know, I'll let it run. But basically, there's about 40 to 50 churches in Knox County, Tennessee, that support or on the list of supporting the LGBTQ community and this organization.
You're my representative, right? You're my representative, correct?
One of them.
One of them. And we have Melanie, who is First Methodist, who is also joining our board. So.
Congratulations, they joined the board. Nice job.
And St. Stephen's is, and process of considering being a sponsor. Did I say that correctly?
Might want to reconsider that.
So we're
Just
getting
saying.
ready to go from 4 religious organizations to up to 5, maybe 6, and that is amazing. No
Great.
other PFlagg organization has that support. So we're pretty proud of it.
It's happening now.
Also on
Well done,
I
PFlagg.
think it was yesterday's Knoxville paper had a piece about faith organizations supporting LGBTQ rights, and it had a list of 40 or 50 churches in East Tennessee, churches,
I didn't make that up.
congregations, etc., that were on that list, including First Methodist. I didn't notice Oak Ridge Unitarian on the list, but I'm not sure how widely they solicited getting names on the list. But it was really nice to see that big long
My guess is
list
they probably didn't
of faith
solicit very hard.
organizations supporting LGBTQ rights. Any other issues,
Good, bad,
good, bad,
indifferent.
indifferent news to talk about?
Good to have all of you all here. This is amazing.
All
Yeah,
of you.
we have not met at the synagogue.
I don't have the report about how many people were
No,
actually in that
we
room.
have one.
One?
One
Okay.
since then. Yeah, one. And I forget what it was, but we have one.
I got my hand caught in a treadmill and cut it open and it bled for 4 hours.
Oh, are you okay?
If you missed it, I guess she fell or something like that and hurt herself. Totally irrelevant to the whole conversation. I'm going to skip ahead. It's just a matter of, it's basically a self-help support group. Everybody's, oh my gosh, are you okay? Everything's fine, you know. Just, hey, look at me, everybody. I hurt myself because I fell. And all right.
Any other messages of interest in the community? Outside of that, unfortunately, Julie from the Oak Ridge Library can't be with us. She's over at City Hall at City Council meeting tonight. But we do have Haley Subby from the Oak Ridge Library. We do have here Carmina.
He's not going to.
Okay. And
Public
we have
meeting, public
Mariah
forum.
Webb from
These are the people that are at the meeting.
Clinton Library.
Do we need to talk about, everybody going to the library, or do you want to talk about it, to support those books? That was a
folks.
good thing, I think.
Yeah, I'll keep up.
Okay, all right.
Okay, well, I will start by saying there was a process where 3 books of note at the Clinton Library were brought to the attention of the board on whether or not they should be taken out of circulation. And the Clinton Library Board had a meeting about 5-6 weeks ago. Very big attendance. A lot of people spoke in favor of keeping the books and.
Oh, we have a copy of those books. Don't you worry about it.
End of the night, the board decided that the books would stay in the collection.
The books are going to stay in the collection.
Correct, that
Congratulations,
the
everybody.
librarian would know properly how to display them.
Right on the front row.
I know that Julie said that she was going to talk about this selection policy that is the official paperwork for the Oak Ridge Library on how they decide things that can and cannot, should or should not be in the collection of the library. And as she is the expert on that, she is not here to talk about it, so I'm not sure if we'll be able to get a little of that from you two, or something like that. Sign-up sheet here, if anybody's not getting email notifications of PFlagg meetings and you would like them, put your name on the sign-up sheet here. With that, I would leave it up to either of you two to.
So here comes the actual librarians. There are people that actually paid by public money right now coming up to talk.
You know what's coming together, what they have? Thank you for coming, we really appreciate it.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. Thanks so much. Sorry, gonna get the static, but this is
So I'm a little unprepared. I got a heads up a couple of hours ago I'm coming, but I do know how books are selected at the library. My primary role at the library is as the cataloger. So I describe all the materials that come into our library and I help decide where their location is. So, for example, where do all of the cookbooks in nonfiction belong compared to all of the biographies? They probably don't belong together for people to find. They most likely are going to be housed in different locations of the library. But to talk just about our selection policy, we are a popular material circulating library, which means that we primarily focus on building a selection based on what the community is interested in. And so how do we know what the community is interested in? And I want to
Very important, listen to this.
say that when I say what people are interested in, it doesn't mean that they're interested in it for good or bad.
Good or bad.
Right or wrong. They're just
Right or
simply interested. So they have some interest in this topic. So how do we figure this information out? Primarily, we do this by patron request. And so patrons can request specific materials that they want, a specific title, a specific CD, movie, or they may just know a certain topic that they're interested in. So for example, let's say I'm interested in books about ninjas, but I don't know a ninja book. I can put in a request saying I'm interested in books about ninjas, and the librarians will go out and look for books about ninjas that will fulfill that need, hopefully for that patron. We also use reviews, professional reviews, such as Kirkus, Goodreads,
I use book lists.
Book List, yeah, there's
Okay.
lots out there. They're professional, so they're used nationwide. It's not just one area uses these, and they're written by professional librarians, publishers, professors, authors. So it's not just someone walking off the street who writes about it. They're well versed in book writing. And then we also use statistics to decide on books, and that's a pretty big one. And this is where it becomes important to refer back to what I said by interest. So statistics that we use for circulation is how much books an item is checked out. So if an item is checked out a lot, we take that to mean the community is interested in that topic. So if they show this interest,
And that's
we're
where
going
it
to want to buy
backfires,
more of
people.
this because they're
If
having
you
an
start
interest
checking
in this
these
topic.
books out,
So let's
they'll just
say,
get more.
going back
Now,
to the
who's
ninja
gonna get into that?
example,
Sorry, I'm jumping
none of
ahead.
my ninja books check out.
Taking
So
my
all
notes
books
going
on
with me.
elephants. I'm gonna get more books on elephants. I don't know if people like elephants, don't like elephants, but they're interested in elephants. So I'm gonna get more elephant books than I'm gonna get ninja books. And so that's primarily where we stand on selection is we want to select books that the community is interested in. And we get that through requests, circulation statistics, and reviews.
Okay, and so what Haley was talking about is true at our library as well. We also have a circulation policy. It's on our website if you want to take a gander. And it talks about how we select books from different sources and things like that. And honestly, this is my fourth library, and every library I've ever worked at has had a similar collection development policy and a similar bent in trying to figure out what our people want and need. So that is available, and recently, of course, we've been having a lot more challenges. I've had informal challenges throughout my whole career. My very first book challenge happened 2 months after I started working as a professional librarian. But that ended up being an informal challenge. I was able to talk to the parent and describe
Listen to informal
how
versus formal
they
challenge.
could guide their child's selections in the future.
3 challenges in October as
And
well.
then interest. And usually that's what happens.
Formal.
People just want to feel heard, they want to come in, they want to talk, and
Or they don't want the books on the shelves.
we explain things to them like what we're doing now, and it's resolved. But recently we've had some issues where things haven't been resolved as easily. As John pointed out, we received 3 challenges back in October for 3 separate books.
Separate
They
books.
went all the way through our collection development policy, through our challenge policy. And the board voted in January to retain those books. I received another reconsideration request form this morning.
For the same book?
No, different book this time. And the book that was on this morning's form, is on a frequently challenged list. However, it also has, literally the entire front inside page is full of positive reviews, glowing things. It's a children's sex ed book.
Sex ed book, guys. It's a sex ed book. It was
We'll
challenged.
be going through the same process again. Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell us what the books were challenged and what the basis were challenged?
Yeah, what are the age groups too?
Are
This
you
is
talking about
for?
the ones that we just got through, or the one this
All the
morning?
things.
Okay, all the things. I can do all the things. The first one was Granddad's Camper,
have a
which
copy
is
of this,
a sweet picture book about a granddad and granddaughter.
Picture book. Did you hear picture
having a
book?
bonding experience after the loss of her
Very
granddad's
important.
partner.
Granddad's partner.
Granddad and Pops are clearly gay.
Clearly.
There is a lovely rainbow flag on the side of the spine.
Again, it's picture books. Clearly.
But it's the sweetest book. It's all about grief and like how you handle your grief and how you grow from it.
Yep.
About how families can help each other. It's so positive.
When you have to explain how
I
positive
cried
it is,
the first time I read it.
there's a
it's
problem.
just so
She
sweet.
cried. That's the.
The second one is
It's a picture book, and you're crying over a picture book.
There was a gay protagonist, okay.
Yeah.
And they said that, I just felt like.
The objection was a gay protagonist.
I would be glad. I would have to pull up the
main character.
consideration requests. I haven't read all the way through them since December when we went through them with the subcommittee. But that was the gist. All three of the ones in October promote
What do they promote?
gay families
Oh,
or characters in some way or another.
imagine that.
The
Spoiler alert, 10 and
second
up.
one is Families Like Mine.
These are written for
Which
10 and
talks
up.
about all sorts of families, families that have
Families like
grandparents,
mine. Again, I don't have a copy of
heading
that one
them,
either, but
families that have adopted
we'll get
children.
there. I have copies in front of you.
And there is indeed a sentence that says, and some families have 2 moms and 2 dads. It's very factual,
Factual.
it's-
She says factual.
put out by a well-known publisher. I believe that one's Rosen.
I have to get the number on that.
Rosen, I'm sure.
Factual.
And it's a great book. It's a great book for families of all stripes to share with each other, so you can look at and see all of these.
She's
all
really
these different
trying
people.
hard to
And
explain how great
all the
this book is.
families have a wide range of racial diversity and ethnic diversity, as well as families who are just like everybody else. And
Just like everybody else.
then the third one.
Maybe they are. Because they are.
I'm trying to remember the title. I'm sorry, I'm blanking.
Yeah. Yeah, again, she's getting
It
choked
feels
up
good to be
on
yourself.
these books, on these picture books that are written for
It's,
10-year-olds. That
It's a book
a grown
about,
adult is having issues
gender
reading
and
without
How
crying.
we can describe that for young children.
It's a cult, I tell you.
The illustrations are lovely.
Ah,
Um,
lovely.
All of them are lovely books. I'm so glad that they're back on my shelves.
So glad. She's so glad they're back on her shelves.
And then this morning, we got a reconsideration request for It's Perfectly Normal by Roby Harris.
It's perfectly normal.
Which
That's
the
the
original,
title.
the original copyright on that is 1994. We have a 2014 version on our shelves.
2014.
I need to get a new version because it's outdated now because of the overturn of Roe last year, because there's a chapter on abortion.
Roe.
Yeah.
There's a chapter on abortion in a book written for preteens, and actually preschool to grade 4.
The last one?
Any of them.
Any of them?
Yep. Here, listen.
And, okay, they go anywhere from preschool to age 4, or grade 4, so 3 to 9, roughly,
3 to 9 years old.
are all of those.
There is a
Except for the
chapter
most-
about
the one
abortion
I got challenged
for
on
a
today, which is-
3-year-old.
Which is recommended for ages 10 and up.
Whoa.
It is-
Why would a
Appropriate
9-year-old
for
need a
just
book on abortion?
Yeah.
Why? Put that in the comments. Let me know why a 9-year-old needs to learn about abortion.
Can you tell us what some of the bills in the past that have come through the State House about bringing up objections to what's in the library circulation? I think there were some bills passed maybe in the last couple of years.
You're probably thinking some of the obscenity bills. Is that what you're thinking of? I thought,
And I don't think it's in this year's house. I thought it was something.
So now they're going back in other bills and things. So this is
Maybe the high school and school libraries.
Yes.
Anybody can come up
Yeah.
and question. Do you know anything about the details on that?
anyone.
not me. Yeah, that is schools and not,
Again, this
not
is a
us. So
public
I'm not
library.
as familiar with the school.
We're not talking-
bills
we're not
because
talking about
it
the
doesn't
schools
affect me as
in
much.
this.
I do
scenario.
know that from what I was hearing from some of my colleagues who are school librarians, those laws are being very hard to enforce evenly. They're being enforced in a very scattershot way across the state. Some places are pulling books out of classroom libraries altogether, while some haven't even had anyone come and look. So I think no one's quite sure what to do with it. Anyone can fill out a reconsideration request. Actually, one of the gentlemen who filled out one of my original reconsideration requests back in October got a library card the day he came in to complain. So anyone can get a copy of our reconsideration forms. They're part of our collection development policy, which, as I said, is on our website. They can print them off and bring them in.
One thing I wanted to point out here on this, and I stopped the recording, but this is what the actual ORPL, which is Oak Ridge Public Library, is an all-access library, meaning that once an individual has a library card, he can check out any materials regardless of his age. No parental permission is requested or required. Tennessee State Law 3917-911, sale, loan, or exhibition of material to minors. It is unlawful for any person to knowingly make available to a minor any picture, photograph, drawing, sculpture, motion picture, film, computer software game, or similar visual representation or image of a person or portion of the human body that depicts nudity, sexual conduct, excess violence, or sadomasochistic abuse, and that is harmful to minors. Again, this is my everyday vocabulary. Like, my vernacular does not include these words. So when I actually see them on a piece of paper talking about a public library, I have a problem with that. All right, so back to the recording. Just want to get that in. That's the law right there.
Those hit my desk, and I read through them, and then I notify the board. Then at the following meeting, the board typically will put together a reconsideration committee, which is myself. Well, if it's my library. I should say I'm part of the Anderson County Libraries. There are 4 of us.
So she says it's her library. It's not the taxpayers, not the public, nothing else. It's her library.
My library, Norris's
she
library.
will do whatever she
Rocky
wants
Talk's
to do in her library.
So the director at whatever library gets the forms, and then they form a subcommittee with themselves, one of their staff members, and one of the board members. At which time everybody reads the books from cover to cover. And one of the questions on our reconsideration form is, has the person who is complaining read the book cover to cover? So that's very important for context, of course.
Is there a question from the audience coming up?
And then after the subcommittee, we'll schedule a time to meet. We'll discuss the items that we've read, make a decision, at which point I pen a letter, or another director pens a letter back to the complainant or complainants. And then they have the ability to appeal that decision to the full board, which is what we had happen last month. So.
So they appealed it, the people who were at that.
The people, yeah, the people who wrote the reconsideration requests back in October appealed the decision that we made in December, and that was brought up at the January board meeting.
So who can get a library card here?
In Clinton, if you live in the state of Tennessee, I would be glad to have you come in and fill out an application. Bring me.
Regional library.
Yeah, yeah.
So any of us could do that.
Any of you could do that.
And if one of the ways you decide to let you put in your library is the request for.
Is what people catch.
We all made the request that you get certain books. You can have a whole bunch.
I can.
Whole bunch.
I was just thinking that, I'm glad somebody else is. Can I say something? I think what Pat's saying is, correct. But I also thought that, one of the men at that meeting in January said, you know, what we do is we take these books out of the library, take them out, throw them in the trunk of our car, and they sit there for a month. We return it, somebody else comes, takes it. So effectively, they're taking it out of circulation.
That is indeed a strategy,
So I
one of
thought
the
that
many.
was interesting. I do have a question though, because it was quite obvious when I was there that those people I didn't mean it, those people. Anyway, that the people in the back of the room were all from one particular school and church community.
For the most part.
It seemed pretty much that they were pretty well connected.
Yeah.
There may have been a couple of oddball
There
people
are a couple
floating
other
around
splinter
that
groups
were
as well.
not. But how do you deal, I mean, in a way, that's really just one voice. It's a lot of bodies.
Oak Ridge is not a
one
large
voice.
community, let's just put it that
Is-
way.
Is
So when you
there
hear a
any
group of
way
people
to deal
coming
with
in,
that? And
it's
then
not one
I
voice.
also think it's important that Julie's told me that Oak Ridge will not have to deal with this, because we're not part of the region.
So I think what Julie probably means is that we won't have the public hearing, like how,
Yeah.
it was done at the Clinton Library.
Why have a public hearing? Just
So
take it
our
all private,
reconsideration policy is slightly
behind
different.
doors.
You
Don't be
do have to be
transparent at
a
all.
library card holder, and you cannot get our reconsideration form online. The reason for this
Yeah.
is because we want it to be the community shaping our collection, so we don't want someone from New Jersey to print off our reconsideration form to reconsider a book in our library, because they're not living here and they're not part of the community. So first, you do have to be a library card holder. You have to fill out the reconsideration form, which is very similar to Clinton's, you know, have you read the book? What did you find that you were not liking in the book? Was there anything to the book's merit that you did enjoy? And then after you complete the form and turn it in, you'll have a meeting with the director plus at least one supervisor, where you discuss the book and just any questions you have about the library. And then after that meeting, all of the librarians, so that's a total of 5 of us now at the Oak Ridge Public Library, we will read the book, and we have to submit a formal review of the book based on the request, basing it off of professional reviews,
You have to read a
awards,
picture book.
and
Tough.
I'm missing one. Our selection policy. Thank you. Based on our selection policy, if we should keep it or remove the book. And then the director makes the final decision in the end. We have had a couple books challenged also in the past couple weeks. Ours are all in the adult department, all adult nonfiction section of our library. They do have an audience of teen, so I mean, you can read into that as you like, but
Yeah,
we
read
do
into
put
it.
them in the
Yeah.
adult side, and we primarily base all of our locations off of the Kirkus reviews for age groups and the American Association of Services for Children. So they kind of define what they think is a proper age group for a book to be in the children's room, the young people teen
Children's
section,
book.
the adult section. And we never put something that says, oh, this should be in the teen section in the children's room. If anything, we always put it up higher if we feel uncomfortable with having it or uncertain about the audience for it and where it was defined.
I love the online books. How does all this work with the
Online books, the
stuff?
question's about.
Are these books that have been challenged, are they available?
I actually haven't checked to see if they're
Online
available.
stuff, and if a book gets pulled from a shelf, is it pulled offline as well?
So that's another thing that's, I think is different from Anderson County.
Different.
Yeah, I think that when Anderson has a reconsideration, the book gets off the shelves. When we have a
Good to know she's
reconsideration,
problem
the
solving
book
and thinking
stays
ahead,
on the
though.
shelf until the
good.
final decision by the director
Can't get it
is
on the
made.
shelves, you can find it
I
online.
will say the 2 books that we have are not available through Hoopla or Libby. And it just comes down to is we have a much smaller pot of money to purchase digital books than physical books. And so majority of our collection is gonna be in the physical books.
Do you have a closed stacks area?
No, we do not.
Do any libraries do that anymore?
In Europe,
Okay.
And I
No,
think.
a few decades ago, I
Well,
worked
what
at a
is
university.
that, Larry?
Pardon?
What is it?
You don't know either.
Yeah.
I worked at a university
Oh.
6 decades ago.
Also in the university system, there
Yeah.
are sometimes closed
But
stacks.
I
Yeah.
remember, books of high value were kept in closed stacks.
Yeah.
And I recall I was a seminarian at the time, and one of my jobs was to check the books carefully, to be sure there were no markings in them. And so I got to check Lady Chatterley's Lover very carefully as a seminarian.
Do you know what the books are that are being challenged?
Yeah, so the Oak Ridge Public Library, the first one is Growing Up Trans.
Growing Up
And the
Trans.
second book is, Just Like Me or something, I believe is the title. Or Just About Me, something like that. I can't remember. It's one of those titles, you know, where it has part of the title and then a
Growing
much
Up Trans.
larger second
Growing Up
title, so I
Trans.
can't fully remember, but that one is much more about starting to explore relationships and sexuality in relationships as you're starting to grow up.
But you have that in the adult section.
Yes, these are both in the adult section.
Now, kids can check out that, or they have to have a parent?
No, they can check out books. I will say no child is allowed to be in the library.
What's a child?
If they're 13 years or younger. You have to
13
be
years
14
younger.
and older to be in the library.
12.
We set our age as that because
So 14-year-old,
for a teen room primarily. So
Can take out a book
the
for
high
adults.
School comes out
It
early
don't
on
matter.
Wednesdays. I think all schools do, but I know the high school because we're right.
even though
across
it's
from
for
it.
an adult,
They come
a
over. We have a teen
14-year-old
room open
above
for them,
13
so they can be in
can
there
rent
without their
or
parents.
check out this
and
book.
then usually a freshman with a high school student ID is 14 years old. Anything lower than that, you start to get into middle school, and so the high schoolers in the teen room really want to be just high schoolers. So that's how we set the 14-year age limit. But yeah, children are welcome to go look at any part of the library, but I will say it is the parent or guardian's responsibility to help their children
so
decide
children
what
can
is
see
correct or what
anything
is
as long as their
appropriate
parent
for their
stops
age
them
group.
from looking at something.
For that.
So if an
Yeah.
under 13-year-old can
Someone
go anywhere in the
asked me if
library,
any of the books
and if
were
their
on Libby,
parents
one guy got challenged
approve of this
morning.
behavior and approve of them looking at picture books, they can pull
really
any
checked out
adult
the-
book off the shelf and look through it
You might need something.
in the library.
Yeah, you might.
Yeah.
Speaking of Lady Chatterley's Lover,
I wonder if any parents are delusional enough to support this. Oh yeah, they are.
brand new that you have a bunch, or is it?
I've been a librarian for 17 years.
17 years.
This is the first time I've ever had formal reconsiderations. Every time before, I could talk to the person.
Wonder how long they've had these gay and lesbian books in
And
the on the shelves.
we
How
made it
long that's
okay.
been a thing.
This is the first time that I haven't been able to do that. And I mean, that's not true of every library in every system, but that's been my experience. I've been in 4 different libraries in my career. Everything from very small, rural libraries to larger, urban libraries. I ran the teen center in Winston-Salem, about 10 years ago.
There's a question coming up I want you to pay attention to.
So, I know you all have gone to Libby. I have used your electronics. If I came in tomorrow, would you help me get Libby on my phone?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So
Can't
if
figure out how to use
anybody is really interested, I also have a great tech person who does tech one-on-ones, and we do computer classes.
Fantastic. You can learn how to
So
do
if you have tech questions, you can come see me, or you can make a one-on-one appointment with Laura, and she will give you an hour of her time.
I have court in juvenile court in the morning. I'm thinking, that's what I'm doing every morning.
Come and see us. We're open 55 hours a week.
So they have questions about online stuff, but listen to this other formal question here.
So when a person challenges a book, makes a formal challenge, I heard you say you ask questions like, have you read the book, and blah, 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 blah. But do they have to complete a coherent sentence saying why they agree to it? Freehand or printed, whatever.
There's a spot on there,
Wow.
and there's both.
Do they have to
two questions I
complete
remember off
a
the top of my head
coherent
because I was
sentence
reading
to
one this
challenge?
morning, was what do you object to in this material, and also do you find is there anything in this book that you find of good value? So we asked for both of those questions to be answered.
And do they have the opportunity to identify an age group that they don't think it's appropriate for?
There's kind of like an open section where they can add extra comments.
Yeah.
I don't think I remember.
They can't figure out how to
specific
use
age
a
bracket.
computer at all
But I
or
mean, I
understand
can-
their
I can
phones, but
understand a
yes,
person
they want someone with a formal
walking
challenge
in
to
and
give a
objecting
coherent statement to
The
challenge.
material in a children's book, but it sounds like they're also objecting to adult nonfiction and fiction.
So far, all of my challenges have been in our
That's all.
children's room.
Wow.
But that's just me and just my library.
Just your
I
life.
don't want anybody to tell those folks who wanted the books withdrawn,
Tell me.
but the idea of checking the book out and just holding it in the trunk of their car means that book gets checked out 12 or 15 times a year, which means it has a high circulation, which means.
That's actually a good point. I mean, that is a good point every lapse, but that's a good point.
Yes, ma'am.
But the librarians don't get real bad about
That's why you need to remove them, just flat out. You can't just check them out.
That's not the only strategy that people who are interested in getting books out of our collection use. I actually printed off a couple of things today, but there were two separate articles today in Book List online. One was about the emotional challenges of being one of the people movies. It was an interview with two librarians in the Midwest who was receiving a dramatic greater than 10 challenges ago. And it's an interview with them, and then the other is a excerpt from a 2022 book that's on intellectual freedom in libraries, and that book actually specifically lines out different strategies groups are using to take our materials out of circulation. So I have those with
collective
me if
sigh.
anyone wants to read them. I didn't bring them up with me.
Can you tell us some of the strategies?
Sure.
So here's some of the strategies.
In the past, we've had people who hide our books. I had a book
Hide the
a few
books in
years ago
libraries.
come off of our Banned Book Week display. If you don't know, Banned Book Week is the last week in September, typically, and it goes into a lot of detail on this. It helps us promote the books that have been challenged. In
I'm
other
actually not
places.
sure what all
Somebody
that noise
took
in the
a book
background
off of our
is.
Banned
It's from the
Book Week
recording.
display and hit backwards behind our Native American genealogy section here.
So someone had to hide it
Fortunately, I
behind
did
some other
inventory
section
that
of
fall,
the
and
book.
we found it.
But don't worry, she found it. Don't worry. Congratulations.
So I didn't
We
have to
found
buy a
it.
new
Oh yeah, we found it.
Often when those copies go missing, I just buy another copy. That's it. So that's a thing. And then of course you have people who do like what I believe that gentleman was looking out for in Lady Chatterley's Lover, which is they go through and they mark through selections in the books.
Oh, they're not highlighted? Not
No,
highlighted?
Not highlighted.
Not highlighter. I have, fortunately, some of the ones I've run across in my time have been pencil, and I was able to carefully, delicately get them taken care of. Sometimes that doesn't work, and I have to end up replacing the material because getting.
Well, they said they were coming
marks
for our
out of the
children.
book.
They are. So believe them, these fringe communities, Planned Parenthood, PFlagg, etc., using taxpayer money to come after our children.
Something I think it's called the right to read.
The right to read statement from the ALA. It's in all of our collection development policies.
Yes, so it's in here. I'm guessing she meant the freedom to read statement, something like that. So we have these couple things in the library called freedom to read statement, our code of ethics, our library bill of rights, and this is just something that's produced for the National Library Network. So this is not specific to just Oak Ridge Public Library. These are from the
Library Bill of Rights.
Yeah, you can find this in Seattle, Washington even.
They're not exempt. Libraries and librarians are not exempt from the law. Consequently, please note the following extracts from the Tennessee Code denoted Title 39, Chapter 17, Part 9 on obscenity.
Library, and so we have the obligation to have materials to represent all views. And as a library, we are not biased towards any specific view, and we do not decide what is right or wrong to read or believe in. That is the reader's right to decide what they believe in. And it's their right to have privacy. So, for example, if someone came in and said that I want to challenge a book, I wouldn't know what account that book had ever been checked out on, or ever will be, because that's not my right to know. That is an individual's right to know what they've checked out and what they find interesting, not mine. It also talks about but it does also address how sometimes some of the pushback does come when more change is happening. Because let's be honest, change is hard. It's hard for everyone.
And it's scary for a lot of people.
And when that happens, sometimes that's when people find things that they're more strongly opinionated about, and they're gonna try to push that opinion on other people, right or wrong, doesn't matter which way. But that's why sometimes we see the challenges being turned up during these times.
Yeah, but the code goes, actual or constructive knowledge means that a person is deemed to have a constructive knowledge of the contents of material who has knowledge of facts that would put a reasonable and prudent person on notice as to the suspect nature of the material.
As a librarian, from my perspective as a professional librarian, I do not judge based on what you're checking out or what you're interested in. I mean,
You
to
celebrate,
be honest,
though.
I probably won't know what you're checking out because we're just checking out the books. And when they come in and we discharge the books, we don't know whose account they're associated with at all. Because they just come in a big pile in a book drop. And we just scan them through. So, yeah, I will just say that a lot of this freedom to write is just, I mean, as they say here in their 7th point,
Again,
a bad book is a good book, and the
struggling.
answer to a bad idea is a good one. And everyone's gonna have their own opinion on what bad is.
Harmful to minors
It
means
doesn't
that quality
matter
of
if
any
you know
description
that
or
is,
representation in whatever form of nudity,
One of the
sexual
things
excitement,
I told
sexual
people over and
conduct,
over again,
excess
who came
violence,
in
or
across these informal
sadomasochistic
challenges is, there are
abuse
things in
when
this
the matter
library I don't
of
agree
performance.
with. I still order it, I still check it out for people. There are lots of things that I wouldn't have in my own home.
I'm curious what those are. Gardening books,
You're allowed to
cooking,
not check these things that
You know.
you would not like in your own home out as well.
American history, presidents,
No, just through the whole story.
biographies. What would you not want to have in your own home, other than nudist books for children?
I mean, are you talking like from a challenge or like in general? Because I mean, we do weed,
Well, I know that you have the
like the book
book
sale.
sale,
Mm-hmm,
right.
yes, yeah, books would
but
be
the
going to the book
ones that
sale.
have been challenged, you haven't.
Oh,
had
I've
any?
never,
Okay.
like I said, this is the first time we've ever had formal challenges.
Yeah, obscene means the average person applying contemporary community standards would find that the work taken as a whole appeals to the prurient interest. The average person applying contemporary community standards would find that the work depicts or describes in a patently offensive way
assuming
sexual
that-
conduct, and the work taken as a
Again,
whole
it's never
lacks
happened.
serious literacy, artistic, political,
I'm
or
assuming that
scientific
if
value.
a library was successfully challenged at my library, then they would probably be removed from all of my sister libraries. So that would be Norris and Rocky Top and Briceville as well.
But not necessarily across the state.
Oh, no, we
Patently
we operate
offensive
under
means that
board.
which goes substantially
most-
beyond
most
customary
libraries do.
limits of candor in describing
We have
or
an-
representing
we have
such
an advisory
matters.
board. And that would
Shameful
it would
or
just affect
morbid
the core
interest
libraries
in
right here.
sex.
Like when McMinn County Schools last year pulled mouse. That just affected the McMinn County Schools. And let me tell you, I got a lot of really great donations of mouse last year. It's a great book. If you haven't read it, you should.
Oh boy.
At the meeting, your board meeting, there was a lot of talk about taking those 3 books and putting them in a special place.
Yes, ma'am.
How did you push back?
Well, I mean, I considered it.
Did you hear that question?
After the January meeting, I sat and I thought about it and I
The question was basically, why don't you put the trans books in a certain area, in a special area by themselves? And she's considering it. Now, why would you consider that or not do that?
some things up and it went against every single professional standard that I could think of. And I'm not gonna move them. They're not being moved. And
Put your foot down.
I mean, think about it.
Think about
If
it.
somebody complained about the books about Judaism or the books about African Americans and asked me to remove them into a particular section, that would be horrible.
Yeah. I mean, overall, she has an overall. If you're gonna do it, go 100%. Don't put it somewhere special.
And I said that we weren't doing that.
And explain your.
I did not explain it as well as I should have. But it was a very fraught, emotional evening.
Emotional.
It was, the last meeting was difficult because we didn't have our supporters this last time. We thought it was done, and then so we just had a room full of people who were.
I love the collective sighs for all the horrible stuff. Like, oh, everyone, oh, it's so terrible. Oh, everybody in this room, I swear, is brainwashed.
If you know that there's an active challenge coming up, I wouldn't discourage you.
So,
How do we know that?
yeah.
You can always contact me.
Yeah, because she'll put up the
My
word.
email is director.
Contact her, let everybody know, hey, this has been challenged. This is a problem. Everybody should know about it so they all can fight back. There's something they don't even know about.
I can let John know.
And then we can,
That's yeah.
and then I can send to our email.
Yeah,
Somewhere.
Yeah.
absolutely. And so next time, we'll be having we'll be putting together a reconsideration committee for the newest challenge, probably. So, our meetings are the second Thursday of each month.
Second Thursday of each month.
Next time we'll be at the Rocky Top Public Library.
Oh, boy.
That might change. Depending when you actually watch this, just go online and
We
look.
rotated before COVID, and then we moved to just going to Clinton during COVID because it was the only place that we had that we could socially distance fairly well.
I bet you did. I bet you're all masked up, vaccinated. Good for you. Way to keep your community safe.
Board meeting in January, the city's legal representative had not looked at that book. What was the feedback when he looked at the books to give his legal?
He brought a whole reconsideration packet this last time, and pretty much it was that none of the books qualified as obscene.
Obscene.
That was.
Notice that word obscene too as well. I mean, that's
Well, I
pretty.
should've brought that
That's
with
pretty
me, not
gruesome
that
word,
it's
or
sitting
like
on my desk at work.
finite word. Obscene. Not in bad taste, or bad, or ugly. It's obscene.
Can I be honest with you? No.
Please be
I have
honest, please.
nightmares. So it's difficult. It's very difficult.
So that was where my question was gonna be. I am not a proponent of like pro-Nazi books being on the library shelf. However, I'm not gonna stand up and tell somebody they can't read that book. I'm just gonna say it's
I have one on the shelf at the library.
so what else can we do besides show up, for the board meetings to be supportive? Because I don't want to ban books, any books.
Yeah.
I want everyone to have the opportunity to read what they want to read,
Absolutely.
including kids who struggle with their identity. I do not
Kids.
want another child
Those kids.
to grow up like I did.
No one is saying that an
thinking
adult
growing
can't
up
find
with
this
kids
book.
telling
No one
me
is saying like an
my
adult
mom and dad
can't
seem to love me a whole
find
lot,
this
no
online
matter
or check it
what.
out.
What the hell?
It's always,
Who cares?
I don't want the
Yeah.
children.
Well, look, there's
Oh,
a
the
book I
emotional
can do.
side of it. I don't want the
Yeah,
children to suffer
What
because
else
they
can
might
we
not know
do
who they
to be
are.
supportive, to be allies in this adventure, besides show up at your board meetings?
That's the biggest thing.
It's always the
Also,
emotional side of it. It's the kids,
If
it's moms, it's
there's something you're
grandmas.
interested in, please let me know. I'll be glad to. I do orders every week. I've actually it's also our budget season, and all of this has been taking up a lion's share of my time. So I actually haven't done a book order in a couple of weeks, which is
good.
unusual for me.
It's probably because you generally just not order
Yeah,
books.
the hugging of oneself is not just because I had a giant coffee on my way here. But also emailing our board letting them know that you are in support of the books that are in our collection, that you're in support of the freedom to read statement that's in our
If we send messages saying we're not in support of this, what happens to those?
Those are the biggest two things right now.
Do we have a voice because we're Anderson County?
Yes, ma'am.
Would it not be better if we also had our cards?
Yeah, please, yeah, come and get cards.
Yeah.
Come and get cards, come and, yeah, drive up my circulation, it'll be great.
It'll be great, it'll be great, it'll be great, it'll be great.
Is there a mechanism that if for some reason, God forbid, those books did get reconsidered and pulled, that we can say, we want you to reconsider that reconsideration because we don't feel as though our voice was heard?
I don't know.
Or is there a time frame that you can?
So it goes in front of a panel for reconsideration. The panel essentially votes no on this thing.
We've never,
and you want to go back on the panel.
That is untried waters, as far as I know.
Well, I think what I hear is we're gonna get involved, so we can support the library. And if you all need that, same thing, have her, I'm gonna let John be the point person. You can type up and I can send it out and mail it.
I think the biggest thing too for the Oak Ridge Library is just request books that you're interested in so that we can build a collection for you.
So I see that this was originally published in 1953 in the middle of McCarthyism. Well, I think
Librarianship has been like, we've been like this for a long time.
among your professionals, how durable do you think what we're going through now is? Do you think it will amplify, or do you think that maybe it'll fade? I mean, it's kind of crazy now in politics. I just didn't know if you had any idea, or that was ever discussed in your circles.
I honestly haven't been to a professional conference since COVID. I'll be going to one coming up soon. Yeah, that'll help.
Conferences for everything. Guess it makes sense.
It depends on how Pollyanna I'm feeling.
It depends on her feelings.
This is gonna go back to normal discourse. But sometimes I can't gather that up.
Wow.
Yes.
All about her.
It's a board that covers all of the libraries in the county except those two. Is it an advisory or is it a board that obviously that can make some decisions?
Yes, they do make some decisions.
And how is it chosen?
So the board is made up of a different selection of people. We have 2 representatives from Clinton. We have 2 representatives from Rocky Top. We have 2 representatives from Norris.
So they're talking about it. We can just kind of skip this a little bit. I want to read. This is one.
A county commission.
Being you. Okay, I'm going to read this column up here. This is what this says. This is from the book, Being You, a first conversation about gender. It's a picture book filled with nice, happy people on here.
When we have a vacancy.
When a baby is born, grown-ups might be, when a baby is born, grown-ups might say it's a girl if their body has a vagina, or it's a boy if their body has a... Sometimes grown-ups aren't sure, but they choose the words girl or boy anyway.
For the at-large?
Okay.
Perhaps?
Yeah.
But the,
That's the bland version. I'm just saying.
So typically how it goes is, the librarian of whatever section it is, and often
I want to show this to
for the
you, but I
at-large
don't.
and for a Clinton, though sometimes the other librarians are also looking in there amongst their constituents.
Let's talk about this one.
As well.
Let's talk
We
about it. That's the
select-
name of this one.
We ask people.
There you go.
Or asking people, hey, I've noticed you're
All
a really
right,
good
so that's
library
it.
patron.
I like the
Would you
picture.
like to
See,
be on
it's
our board?
down here
And they'll come
of the
to
girl in the
meetings,
bathroom
see if they're
toilet,
interested, and they'll talk
because
about
that belongs in the
themselves and how
book.
they're involved with the
So let's
library
talk
and
about it.
community. And the
Now, it goes through the whole thing on here.
recommend them to the city council.
The Teen's Guide to Sex, Relationships, and Being a Human. A great place to research fantasies and kinks safely is on the internet. That's what it says. There are tons of people and communities out there who share your interest and have all kinds of advice.
Good or bad. I mean, I could see it both ways.
Yes.
The online world is chock chock-a-block full, I don't know, chock-a-block full of pornography professionals, amateurs alike, sharing their sexy adventures online. When consumed right, porn can help you discover new aspects of your sexuality and help you safely explore kinks and fantasies. But depending on your age and where you found it, porn can also be unethical or illegal to watch. So do your research. Look up interviews with your fave porn performers. Go to sites they recommend and pay for your porn. Okay. Again, that is right here in the book. I just read that page of the book. Let's talk about it. This is a book for kids, a teen book, a teen's guide, telling you to go online to get sexual advice from strangers in a time where we live of kids being trafficked and all kinds of kidnapped and problems. And they're telling you to go online to find these people and ask advice. You want to talk about what grooming is, that is the definition of it.
And you have a feeling that the impetus behind the challenges is becoming.
Yeah, they're still talking about challenges. But I mean, they're saying, hey, find your best adult film stars, and because they're celebrities, because they're really important, you should go watch them and know their names. Oh, boy. Wow. Educate children about how to send sexual photographs to friends and to blur their faces or any birthmarks or tattoos to prevent recognition.
Challenges last fall.
There's talking about masturbation in here, all kinds of genitalia.
They are recent.
Encourage young children to question their gender, suggesting they are male, maybe male, female, neither, or both. But they are normalizing all of the sexual relationships between adults and children, including incest, using fiction and graphic novels. This is what they're doing. This is exactly what they're doing. This is a quote from Here and Queer by Rowan Ellis.
Has there been any change in interest?
I just want to hear this question.
Request for the books that are in challenge?
Online friends can be just as special as the people you see every day at school or work, and you may have well opened up to them just as much about your fears or dreams. If you're a queer person living somewhere away from easy access to in-person queer resources, those online friendships can be a crucial lifeline to genuine acceptance. That is sick. Talking on the phone, messaging online, and sending photos are all options for many queer people, particularly if they don't have a safe space at home to bring their partners. However, if you're under 18, it's important to learn about the laws where you live. In a lot of places, sending an explicit photo of a partner, even one you have taken of yourself, may be considered child pornography. You think?
That is a publisher's dream.
Wow. From Here and Queer, those are quotes. So again, it's okay to send pictures if you're oh man, I can't even say it sarcastically. I can't even say it sarcastically. It makes me sick. I'm actually shit. I got goosebumps. That is horrible. Horrible.
He's a retired author and graphic novel writer, and he's all over the place last year.
When the movie E.T. came out, I read, I don't know this for a fact, that one word was inserted in the language of the conversation between two brothers at the table, so that it would get a PG rating, because kids would not go to a G movie.
That's actually how we divide out our DVDs. All of our G and under materials are in our children's room, and they don't circulate as well. But of course that means that, like, Shrek and pick your Disney flavor are all in our adult DVD collection.
Let's go through a few things here. Prince and Knight. Book summary. Prince falls in love with a knight after defeating a dragon together.
That's a Kyle.
Easy reading.
Get that information out to our people.
All right. We'll get into a few books here.
But we can support you that.
So at this point, let's continue going through some of these books that you can find in your local library in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. How about Man o' War? Okay, we got this one. This is a book summary. A young woman has a romantic relationship with a young man who and comes to believe she is a different gender. Book contains obscene sexual activities, nudity, alternate gender ideologies, alternate sexualities, profanity, derogatory terms, references to hate involving homophobia and racism, controversial social and historical commentary, and alcohol use. I think you got it all. That was good. I mean, you got every single check mark in there, but don't worry, it's a Stonewall honor book for young adults. Man o' war. Yeah, fantastic there. Let's go into Grow Up and Love Your Body. Grow Up and Love Your Body. Look at that one from 8 to 12-year-olds, okay? 8 to 12. Instructs young women about negative influences and self-esteem while growing up. Well, that sounds nice. This book contains non-sexual nudity, controversial social commentary, and discussions of sexual predation. Whoa, non-sexual nudity. All right, for 8 to 12 years old. That's fantastic. This printout does not have any pictures, but it does go... See, I can't even read this. I mean, here. You want to zoom in? You want to zoom in? Fine. Here you go. Zoom in. I ain't going to read that. I don't want to be, stopped by the people looking over my shoulder here. Man, how about Crank? Crank sounds fun. This is a book for young adults as well. Young adults, great. What's a young adult? The New York Times bestseller. This book contains explicit sexual activity, sexual battery, profanity, and drug abuse. Yeah. I've been smoking pot since I was 13. Couldn't quit if I tried. The white stuff was a different story. He'd stayed up all night eating zip, bowling, and snorting line after line, rent money. Oh, see, I don't even want to read. I don't want to read this out loud. There it is. That's, you want to read the whole book? I got it right here. That's the whole printout. All right, found obviously Clinton 2. It's perfectly normal. Oh, this is close to the one that they talked about. It's perfectly normal. So the book summary, this book instructs young and children about puberty, sexual intercourse, STDs, pregnancy and abortion, and sexual abuse. Got it all. Contains excerpts and illustrations involving sexual activities and sexual nudity. So the book, actually on the actual book, it's perfectly normal. Changing bodies, growing up, sex, gender, and sexual health. This is for juveniles. This is in the juvenile section. Yeah. Yeah, I can't even read this. I mean, taking a shower, men taking a shower, women taking a shower, young woman looking at a bra. It's disgusting. Disgusting for juveniles. And then, probably the worst for last. It's an adult graphic novel called Genderqueer. Book contains obscene sexual activities and sexual nudity, alternate gender ideologies, and profanity. This is for an adult graphic novel. I'm gonna cover this up so I don't have to do it myself later on. I'm covering up something, by the way, just to, because I don't want to have to manually blur it out. This page, I'm thinking I'm gonna have to manually blur out, but this is it. You happy with yourself, guys? You write this down. This is what you write. Just because you put it as a coloring book, or not a color book, but a graphic book and pictures that are cartoons, doesn't mean it's right. It does not make it right. It's been a few days since that last video, and I realized I got to that point where I was reading so much into this. I was reading the books and the articles and going over the players in the game, and I thought, man, I got to step back for a second. Because I'm lucky enough to have 2 adult children that are in their early 20s. And so I think to myself, well, this doesn't involve me because my kids are grown. They won't be affected by this. But then I think, well, if I'm blessed to have grandkids, what kind of world are they going to grow up in? Are they going to run into the same thing? And I'm worried that that's a possibility. if the people and the fads that this is, the ideologies don't get stopped where it needs to now, grandkids, if they do come, are going to run into the same problem. And so depending on where you're at in your parental journey, your grandparents, your teachers, or who you're watching, this affects everybody. Because this ideology that kids need to be sexually involved at 7 years old down to 3 and 4 year olds, and they need to be taught about sexuality and need to look at pictures that are very inappropriate. I say just let kids be kids. Let them grow up. These parents, they have these ideologies of what they want to form their kids and mold their kids into something that they're not, and just like put on a dress and mutilate them and take off body parts because the parents think that that's the right thing to do because they think it's helping them. It's sick. It's sick. And we need to take a look at the society. There's so much happening right now. There's so much anger and hate, and they say it's disguised, love beats hate and all that stuff. But it's not love when you mutilate your kids. It's not love when you make them grow up in a world that's sexualized. I mean, it's the fall of society at some points. You can make that argument real quick with history repeating itself. So where are you at with this? Are you okay to turn a blind eye? Are you okay to say, it's not that bad? Or are you someone that's going to step up and actually say something or block something or just get out there and spread the information? So if you like this video, if you don't like the subject matter I was talking about, please share it with somebody. Please share it with multiple people. Not on my behalf. I could care less at this point about myself. But share it on behalf of the children of the country and ultimately the world, because they need to know what they're being taught, number one, in schools, but number two, in public libraries. Where is your taxpayer dollars going, and what ideology is being fed to undermine the future, the innocence of children? So please just take a moment, say a prayer. Say a prayer for whatever kids you have in your life. Say a prayer for our country. Say a prayer for our leaders to wake up and say, this just isn't right. So with that, I'd like to thank Nate Mullins for bringing this to my attention, for sitting down with the interview on a very, very cold day. Thank you for the person that did the audio. Thank you for those that stand up and go to meetings, the public libraries, the county commission meetings, the county assembly meetings, whatever you have in your area, in this community, especially Anderson County. But just remember that elections have consequences. And if you elect someone that has the ideology to do this and to support this information, just make sure you watch where you cast your vote. So with a big sigh of relief, and I'm actually glad that this one's done because of the subject matter and how rightly it hurt me. I just point to people that are very important in life and always, brought out the whole best of everybody, or at least, at the very least, should have brought out the best of everybody. So anyway, do the right thing, Anderson County. I appreciate your attention so much, and that's the truth between lines. Between